Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I'm Sammy, and with me today is Kayla.
Hello again.
And Dan.
Hello.
And this is our C-Dramas intro part 2, where I'm just going to give you a list of recommendations of some of, maybe not my favorite C-Dramas, but C-Dramas that I would recommend to newcomers and people that have never watched a C-Drama before. This episode was a long time coming because I think I promised it in like episode 2 of this podcast.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the first pitched ideas because at first we were like, but we don't want to contain ourselves to K-pop only. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I want to do a C-drama episode. And we're like, go for it. Make a script. We'll be there. And it's finally happening. How many episodes later?
While you were writing this script, you wrote like a whole essay on Republican era China. And then
I did a lot of research.
And then also added like 8 dramas that you're just like, I need to watch this for the episode so I can recommend it to people.
Because at some point I realized I don't watch Republican era shows and I probably should maybe have an idea of what I'm talking about. Because I am talking entirely out of my ass, but maybe I should like have somewhat more of an idea because I'm not a person that likes to recommend things that I have not personally watched. So, mind you, I've watched every single show, every single episode of every single show on this list. That's the quality control we have on this podcast.
Nice. Mm-hmm. That dedication.
It took me, like, actually 3 months. And then also we just didn't have time to record this episode, so it was like another month of sitting here.
It was a lot of episodes needed to get recorded first, so
yep.
Just got
and then I was just like, at some point Kayla was like, you can't add any more shows, because at some point I was like,
we need to cut it off somewhere.
Yep.
I completely blame our coverage of Mnet survival shows for the reason why this got shoved so far back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I needed to podcast more about Island.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
That's what I needed to do.
Priorities.
Mm-hmm. So, the shows I'm recommending now are just, maybe not, some highlights, some very, very popular dramas, some slightly more, obscure genres. C-dramas air very, very quickly, as I think we said in the last episode. They air over like a month to really a month period for the whole show to air. So I wanted to contain this to shows that were released within the past like 2 to 3 years, because that's really all that matters. And a lot of them were released this year because like they're just the most recent. They're the thing that's on everyone's mind, and they're some of the more popular shows. And then also, I have divided this into 4 categories. Modern, youth, costume, and Republican-era dramas. I'll explain what each of them are as I get to them, but a lot of them are very self-explanatory. So, to start, I'm going to start with the modern dramas. So, modern shows are any show in a contemporary setting. They're really just your family dramas, your workplace dramas, your gaming dramas, those kind of shows. So the first one I want to highlight is one of my favorite shows, and a show that I talked about in our top 5 shows all the way back when we did that, was Go-Go Squid. A 2019 41 episode show, which is about a cute romance between a singer and a genius in the field of computer engineering who's also really big in the gaming world. Yes, he's the coach of an esports team and also is a former esports player, and this is another esports drama. This drama is so cute. This drama is super sweet. The couple is really sweet. This show doesn't necessarily focus as much on the actual sport of esports so much as the team advantage, the team aspect. Really, you could have replaced esports with any team-based sport and it'd be the same show. But I think the friendships are really good. I think that the relationship gets a lot of very good development. And the gaming aspect of this show is really fun. It is sort of a beginner's guide to esports dramas because they do kind of take you step by step through it. Because this is a girl that has never, like, been a part of esports. She doesn't really know what the game is. So, like, she's new, so they kind of explain esports and explain the game and explain all the different things to you. So it's a really good entry point for people that have never watched an esports drama.
I don't know. You talked about it once, and now that I sort of stumbled onto this whole esports C-drama, I guess it's a genre at this point now. Just there's
It's a genre. There's like a
really
good 8 or 9 of them.
Gaming C-dramas.
I didn't think it was a thing. Apparently, it's a whole genre at this point. I think it's interesting as, again, someone who does follow esports a lot. It's kind of cool to see their take on it, and I think that you emphasize the one part of esports that I really enjoy is the whole team building and team, coming together, because usually that's the cool part, because it's very often, especially with these types of sports, that they're like, yes, teamwork always makes the dream work, and yeah, that it actually does work in this scenario. So there's a lot of Cinderella stories like that, where it's just like a group of friends go out to win like the big championship. So I'm kind of interested in watching
this. Is this the gaming one that has like the hacking game that's like not a game?
Okay. Yes.
The hacking game. Yeah, you talked about that.
The game in this show makes
that's just
no
like
sense.
typing nonsense.
Who can type the most?
The game in
it's
this
just
makes no
sense.
It's like, not the best game, which is why I said the show doesn't focus necessarily on the game. Really, this could have been a show about a soccer coach or a basketball coach, and it would have made no difference. It just happened to be esports.
Right.
Like, the game itself does not matter, unlike some other esports shows where the game does matter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I don't know. It's been on my to watch list ever since that our favorite drama episode. So maybe sometime I'll watch it. But that's what I always say, and then I'm a big liar. So moving on.
Moving on to the second show, we have Because of You, or also known as Because of Meeting You, a 2017 56 episode drama where a girl who grew up basically working in a wonton shop and also delivering as a delivery girl. She did not receive high education, but she's very lovely, spunky, enthusiastic, extremely kind. And turns out she comes to discover that she is actually not her family's daughter. She was adopted by them after an accident, and she's actually the daughter of the heir to a famous embroidery workshop. And so this accident caused her to be raised by this other family. This is an amazing show. This is a very underrated show. This show goes on all of the roller coasters. The show is just... I don't want to say anything, but there's going to be a spoiler section. Editor Kayla put spoilers on the screen because I'm going to spoil a bunch. Because this show is very good, and if you don't want... It has a wonderful love story. It has great characters. It has great family dynamics, both between her real family and her fake family, and it's very much a Cinderella story because she is treated poor. Again, she's the Cinderella in her poor family, and then she realizes that she's actually and she's actually rich, or she's part of this wealthy family. And also, this show deals a lot with embroidery, and the embroidery in it is gorgeous. All the pieces, all the clothes, everything is just very, very beautiful. And they do a lot of focus on it, and it's just wonderful. And then the spoiler part, spoilers now, guys, in this show, so this show is wild. In this show, she has a sister. The adopted family that takes her in has a sister. She's a Cinderella. Her sister gets pregnant, leaves the baby for adoption, and then she raises that baby as a single mom.
Oof.
Oh my.
Which is a lot. And they all think it's her baby, so they treat her like a single mom. And then it's wild.
Oh wow.
This show is wild. Also, it's just it also has a fabulous wedding. The wedding in the show is great. So this is all the spoilers. That's the big twist in the middle of the show, is that she ends up with this baby.
She just has a baby.
Falls in love. Yeah, and then falls in love.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of my favorite C-dramas. It's one of the first C-dramas I've watched.
This sounds really interesting.
Yeah. And you can watch the show on... And you can watch this show on Viki, and you can watch it for free on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
That will become a theme, is that you can watch this for free on YouTube.
Everywhere on YouTube.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Curious.
The third show I have, and the last show for modern dramas, is Lucky's First Love. Lucky's First Love is a workplace drama. It's a 2019 24-episode workplace
this is a
drama.
Dan drama.
I was gonna say, like,
It's a Dan drama.
go on.
So the female lead is recruited to work at the male lead's gaming company.
Ah, yes,
He's
gaming
a
and
determined
workplace.
and has
Oh, no.
Gaming workplace drama. The Dan drama.
He is determined and headstrong, and a son who refuses to take over his family's company and chose to make his own way. On her journey from a sketch artist to a game designer, she experiences many extreme jumps and hurdles, and their continual bickering brings them closer. And the girl who's never been in love before find what is the last hurdle is love. So she falls in love with her boss.
Aww.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is just like super lighthearted comedy. The closest thing I would describe it to, it's very much like What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. Like, that's a great show to compare it to. Like, it's a fun workplace drama. There's this constant bickering. Like, they're obviously in love. It's a very cute show, and you can watch it on Viki and iQ.com, which is the iQIYI website. It's so cute. I love this show. It's very sweet.
Right
It's like adorable romantic comedy. The couple's really cute. They have great chemistry, and it's actually very funny. And it's more gaming. The gaming is not a part of the show. This could have been... I think that they like it because it lets it be a more, like, chill workplace. Because other than that, there really is no point to this being a gaming show. It's not a gaming show.
It's just gaming is popular, so they gotta,
Yep. And it just, I think, allows for, like, the more relaxed office environment.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's a few
opposed
shows
to, like, the more
that.
uptight.
I mean, like, a lot of like, shows, like, business-wise, they're all like, oh, we're trying to build, like, an app, so it's, like, just a computer programming business where it's, like, less stressful. So, yeah, I can get that. This sounds, again, right up my alley. I will probably get to it in the next couple years, because that's a lot.
Eventually.
It's gonna go on the list for a while. But, yeah, that's a good one.
It'll go on a list and Dan won't watch it for another 5 years.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, oh, guys, I finally watched that. And you'll be like, what? I forgot about it. Cute. Also, Viki. That makes me already more interested.
Viki, and it's iQIYI. The iQ app, the iQ.com is also free.
Okay.
For most of their shows.
I'm very happy that a lot of these are just available on YouTube.
Nice.
For free.
Yeah.
With English subs.
Always nice.
Alright. The next category of show is the youth dramas, which are all dramas set in high school or college or with high school or college-aged characters. Different than modern dramas, which are mostly more workplace-oriented. That's how I distinguish them. So for that, number one, I have Meteor Garden. A 2018 50-episode Chinese drama.
I did see
which
two
is
episodes
another
of the
remake.
show.
You did, and we'll talk about it, because it is another remake of Boys Over Flowers, or whatever the original manga for Boys Over Flowers is. And this is also a remake of the original Meteor Garden, which was both a mainland Chinese and a Taiwanese show, which is, I think, the first adaptation of that. So this is like remake on remake on remake. This is like the fifth or sixth time this story has been told. And again, if you haven't heard of it, it's an ordinary girl who's admitted to a prestigious school in the country where she meets the F4, an exclusive group composed of the 4 wealthiest and most handsome boys in the school. I think we all know what this show is about.
Yep.
At this point. So it's a remake of Boys Over Flowers, and honestly, I liked it more than Boys Over Flowers.
Boys Over
Kayla,
Flowers is
episodes.
a lot. It's
Boys
so
Over
much.
Flowers is very much of its time. It's a 2000 show that feels like a 2000 show. This one is a little bit more chill.
I cannot finish Boys Over Flowers because of just just horrendous.
I finished it twice because my friend wanted to watch it, and I watched it with her, and I've watched that show twice.
Yeah.
And
I like Meteor Garden
times.
a lot better because the female lead is like a believable person
Competent.
and not just annoying as hell the entire time and like really stupid.
Like, and also, again, with the 50 episodes, she has friends. Like, she's allowed to have human
She has
contact
friends,
that's not just
she
with
has
these 4
an
boys.
actual family, like, she has a
Yeah.
personality, like, it's a lot better.
She has multiple friends. She doesn't just have her one friend at her job. She has the
Mhm.
one friend at her job and her 2 friends at school. Bam.
Right.
And also, the characters, I don't know how this is in the original source material, but the characters in Meteor Garden are in college. This is not a high school-based show, it's a college-based show, which I tend
guess
to
that's
gravitate
already
to more.
better.
And
Yeah, the whole
infinitely
youth
more
thing
easy
really-
to...
Yeah.
Mhm.
Scares
It's
me out.
high school
It's-
or college age.
Yeah.
Most of the ones I picked, I only have one high school show on here. But honestly, it's just a better... If you're gonna watch... If you want to watch Boys Over Flowers, take the plunge, watch a show that's a little bit longer, and watch Meteor Garden instead. It's more modern. It's the same exact, like, basic concepts, but done with slightly more mentality. And, spoiler alert for Boys Over Flowers, it does not start with a student's attempted suicide.
Brilliant.
The first episode of Boys Over Flowers starts with with like a kid trying to jump off a roof. Kayla can attest to
Boys
that.
Over Flowers is a lot.
It is. So just watch Meteor Garden, which does not have
It's
teen
better.
suicide in it.
Meteor Garden, it's better. Boys Over Flowers.
And it's also on Netflix.
It's
So
been
if
suggested
you have
to
Netflix,
me. It's on that pool of, like, recommended. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, it's a youth drama. Never mind. Let's skip on.
trust me, it's college.
Alright.
Youth does not mean high school. Youth also
I
means
know.
college.
Interesting.
Second one is one of my favorite shows of this year, which was Skate Into Love, a 2020 40 episode youth drama. I've also seen it classified as a modern drama. They're in college. I classify it as a youth drama, which is about a speed skating girl who crosses paths with the ice hockey god of her school. And despite starting off on the wrong foot, they start a journey to chase their dreams. And the fun thing is, the speed skating girl realizes that this ice hockey boy is the boy she used to bully in school.
Aww.
In elementary school.
The freaking girl's the bully. Always, man. Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
I adored this show. It's so good. It's just such great chemistry between the leads. Everyone's very fun and funny. There's wonderful friendships. And the one thing I did enjoy was that everybody is there's a lot of camaraderie, and there's what I find very interesting with a lot of these shows, especially a lot of the youth shows, you have, like, the evil for evil's sake character that's trying to destroy them. And this show doesn't have that. This show is just, there's
nice.
conflict, but there's not this cartoon villain that just happens to be around. This cartoon mean girl, or this cartoon asshole guy who just continuously ends up with with just random plots, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is just stupid. And also, there's 3 male leads. This isn't a love triangle.
We got
this
3.
is just 3 male. There's 3. You think 2 male leads is wrong? There's a third one. The third one is really useless, but there's one that's there for a while, and I'm like, damn, hello. Also, you get speed skating, ice hockey, and the second male lead is a figure skater, and then the third male lead's a journalist. We don't talk about him.
Alright. Journalism bad. Got it.
It's less interesting than speed skating and ice hockey.
Fair enough.
And this show is wonderful. I love it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's in one of my top shows of this year. It's in one of my top shows ever. I loved it.
Alright, you talked about
this.
it quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, while you were watching it, you talked about it a lot.
Again, fun story, guys. We have a lot of Discord calls very often, and every time I'm just watching a drama while also on this Discord call. Because what I found is that these dramas, while I do need to actually be looking at them, I don't actually need to be paying my full attention to them, because they are simple stories, so I can be on a Discord call while also watching all the dramas. And they'll randomly just hear me yell because someone died. Or they won, and I'm very happy.
I wouldn't be surprised if you're watching
a
drama right now as talking about
I'm not
other
doing
drama.
that.
Okay.
No, I'm not
Just
doing
checking.
that. I don't have that. I don't while I'm recording the podcast. And so Skate Into Love is available on YouTube and Viki. And all the shows that I say that are on YouTube with English subs unless otherwise specified.
Nice.
So up next, we have a show called A Little Thing Called First Love. Quite a title. It's a 2019 36 episode show, and this one stars Guanglin, former member of 101. Yay. This is where he went.
Cute.
It tells the story of an ordinary girl who falls head over heels for the most popular guy in her school, played by Guanglin. She's a shy, artistic student who develops a crush on the handsome, talented classmate and embarks on a journey of self-discovery through college. So this show actually starts out in high school. A good portion of it takes place in high school toward, like, I'd say the middle of the show, they graduate and then go off to college, and it continues in college. So it actually follows these characters for a decent amount of time, because I do think it ends later on in college. I think one of them is even when they graduate college. Like, it's a very long span of time.
Okay.
And it is just a very cute, sweet, innocent show. I actually wanted to have a high school show on here. I don't really watch high school shows, at least C-dramas, because C-dramas have a lot of college shows, and I tend to gravitate toward them more. But I wanted one high school show, and I didn't realize this was also going to go to college, so more college shows. Vast majority of this actually takes place in college. But it's actually really similar to a lot of K-dramas that have a premise like this. It's very tropey, but in, like, the best way. Like, if you want, like, a cute, innocent, tropey thing, it's actually really sweet. It is... The fun thing with this show is that this is the show that while I was watching it, I said the girl looked jaundiced.
Oh.
Because this is also one of the shows where it's like the ugly duckling becomes pretty. She starts the show... They make her look so bad, and
I love it
because they make everyone else look so white. They make everyone else look so white. She doesn't look just because I think they're trying to make her look tanned. The thing is, she doesn't look tan. Is that she just looks jaundiced? And I'm like, girl, go to a doctor, please. But she's a really pretty girl. She's very sweet. They don't actively, and the thing is, she doesn't change herself for the guy. She changes herself for her own self. Worth, not because of him, but sort of for herself, which I really thought was very, better than a lot of other shows could have done. And the cast is really young, but they're really talented, and I think that for this whole show, this is the first time any of them are leads, and this is, I think, the first time Guanglin has been in a drama since, I think he was a kid. Forever. And, like, he did really well. And this show is available on YouTube, Viki, Netflix, and Amazon Prime Video.
Alright.
Literally anything
Everywhere.
you have, you can watch it.
It's everywhere.
It's literally everywhere. Alright. Up next we have the costume dramas, which is just a blanket term for any historical/fantasy drama. I think all of the ones I'm talking about are fantasy dramas, so... The historical dramas are longer. They're where you get to your 60 to 70 episode range, and I don't necessarily throw myself. They're very intimidating even to me. I don't watch historical Chinese dramas. They seem intimidating. I will eventually, and I'll get back to you when I do. So the first one we're going to talk about is The Untamed.
Surprise.
Because of course we are.
Big surprise.
Of course we are. It's a 2019 50-episode show starring Wang Yibo, formerly of Unique, or currently of Unique. That band hasn't disbanded. It's a series following the adventures of two soulmate cultivators who travel to solve a series of murder mysteries, eventually finding and defending the true culprit. And then they are essentially two polar opposites who are suddenly tied together after discovering a plot discovering a plot, and basically anything else I say about this is a spoiler, and this show is a lot. The show is very good. I highly recommend it. It's the greatest show ever made. Watch it.
So you've said.
I've said this a lot. I don't know what else to say. It's so good. The
The
more I
Untamed
would
Prophet.
describe about the plot, I'm the Untamed Prophet. Show's on YouTube, it's on Viki, it's on Netflix. There's no excuse not to watch it. There is also the Untamed Special Edition, which is just recutting the show in chronological order and cutting out like 30 episodes. Don't watch it. It's worse. It's not
worse.
as good.
Okay.
It's not
good
as
to know.
good, and you miss like a lot of the actual like story arc, and like you get the main plot points.
It's a cool afterthought if you're still
It's a cool afterthought if you've already seen the show.
right.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with this show, I'm now going to go into spoiler territory. Half of this show is a flashback. So you're put in modern times up until like episode 3. And then from episode 3 to around episode 33, you are in a flashback. And it is all about the journey of like these, you see the two lead meet, you see them basically find like the evil demonic cultivators, which are like the evil clan, and then they defeat them. But it turns out that now one of our main characters now does like evil demon magic, which is bad. Then they kill him, and then he comes back 16 years later, and then there's more plotting and more like there's like political intrigue, there's like backstabbing, and then it's a very good show.
It's
Kayla and Dan may eventually watch it.
may eventually.
I feel like
watch
I
it.
will at some point, but it's also like it's gonna get put on a list, and I might not get to it for like several years.
I can also probably tell you if I do ever watch it, I won't tell you, and it'll just be like, oh,
No,
by
you
the
can't
way,
tell me.
I finished
No,
the
you
Untamed.
can't.
It's gonna have to be like
You
that.
can't tell
Just
me.
drop it one day. It's like, by the way, the Untamed is really good.
Like, you guys are gonna need to start, like, the similar group chat that you had when I went for my birthday for
That's gonna be a
watching the
secret
Untamed.
Secret
watching
Untamed watching
chat.
part. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
No, you need to tell me right before you watch the finale so I can just watch... I'll just watch the finale with you just like, hi.
Yes. Hi,
That'd
I'm
be
here.
fine. Yeah,
Yep.
it'll be on the list. I think it is already on my list of just shows to watch. I even had
You
one of
love
my
Wang
friends.
Yibo.
I do.
You do. We
I
are
do
part.
a
We are all
lot.
part of the Wang Yibo cult.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
literally said to my friend, she's like, "Oh, I'll watch it for you," and she's like, "It's pretty good. I don't know if you
For
like
ya?
it." So,
You won't,
But she
Dan.
also
I
knew about
genuinely
it.
believe that you won't.
okay, that's a good feeling.
Because you don't like fantasy. You've said,
I really
told me flat out
don't.
you don't like fantasy.
Yeah,
You're not gonna like any of the shows on this list because they are all fantasy shows by design.
I know, but I also know it's Wang Yibo, and I know it's The Untamed. So if I were to give
True.
fantasy one shot, it would be this show.
It's this.
So, yeah.
I mean, the thing with this is that they're actually technically called wuxia shows, which is that they are martial arts based fantasy shows. So that's what the technical subgenre is. So next we actually have Legend of Awakening, a 2020, 48 episode drama, who actually for its female lead has Shang Zhao of Cosmic Girls. Yay.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. So this, so in this world, there's two orphans who were in prison for many years, and they plot and execute an escape. Despite their lowly status as runaways, they actually possess exceptional magical powers, and so the dean of a leading martial arts academy recognized their great potential and then offers to take them on as students. It's basically magical orphans. It's basically Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Perfect.
It's not Harry Potter at all. I just wanted to say magical orphans.
It is Harry Potter, but not Harry Potter.
Got it.
No. There's just magical orphans, which again, you'll find that a lot of these plots revolve around magical orphans.
Yeah, I can't have parents holding them back.
Nope.
I gotta go
This show is-
unleashed.
Yeah, the show's really fun. Shang Zhao plays the main male lead's love interest. She's actually a surprisingly good actress for this being like one of her first starring roles. And I think that overall the pacing isn't great on the show, but it's an easy show to follow, which is why I think it's a good starter show. Like, you get the basic, like, a lot of these fantasy shows can have very complicated plots, and, like, they can just pile on a bunch of stuff very quickly.
Lore.
But this show does it. Lore. This show
World
kind of
building.
drags. If I'm being 100% honest, it kind of drags, but I did love the dynamic of everybody together. and I loved the characters, and I loved the arc. So that kind of kept the show to be actually really good. The plot is where a little bit of dragging. That's where you can actually feel
I
the
can
48
get
episodes.
behind a bit of dragging. I mean, if the characters, like you say, are as interesting as they are, like, it allows that drag to not feel too much and continues to, like, egg on to more plot. But yeah, I think that was my biggest problem with, like, Genki Heart and a lot of these long dramas that you're investing a lot of time into, is that once you do hit a patch like that, you really start to tune out and then don't finish, or take months to finish, like what I do. So yeah,
You took months to finish a 36 episode show. I can only imagine how long the 48 episode Legend of Awakening would take you. A man who has admitted to not like fantasy.
yeah, I will take your word for it.
This show is available on Viki and IQ.com, which is iQIYI's .com service.
Cool.
Up next, we have one of the older shows on this list. It's Princess Agents, 2017 67 episode drama. This is one of the most famous costume dramas. This is actually a very, very popular one. So a slave girl is thrown into a forest along with the other slaves and becomes a hunting target for rich lords. She's saved and then brought into a powerful family as a slave girl. And she swears to take her younger sisters and flee the situation. However, she captures the attention of one of the princes and is now put under strict training. And basically becomes a badass warrior.
Nice.
And this show is amazing. Twists and turns for days. I can't say any more about the plot because it's a spoiler. However, big letters. If you are someone that wants a satisfying conclusion with no cliffhangers, do not watch this show. I have to give that warning. Because this show does not have that clear of an ending, nor that great of an ending.
Ooh.
It's really like, it has all the greatest build-up, and it's one of my favorite shows. It's very good, but it does not have a good ending, which kind of ruins it. But I have to recommend it because it's Princess Agents. Everybody loves Princess Agents, and the whole show is amazing until the last episode.
Fascinating.
It's also 67 episodes, so I don't want you to get to like episode 67 and be disappointed.
Yeah.
There was actually supposed to be a season 2, but I think that there was an issue with the original book that it's based on, that it might be plagiarized, so who knows.
Oh, that's always...
Oh, no.
I mean, the whole idea of,
lawsuit.
like, a slave girl suddenly inheriting really powerful, like, fighting capabilities is not the most original concept.
Especially not in Chinese books.
So, sure, plagiarism.
I think that there's an actual lawsuit, so I don't know if it's... I don't want to
snap.
speak to whether or not it's actual plagiarism.
Alright. Well, that's always exciting.
Yep. The show's on Viki and on YouTube for free.
Nice.
And then the last one I want to talk about for fantasy shows, because that's really what cdramas are known for, is their fantasy shows. It's kind of what distinguishes them from any other country's shows. I want to talk about Ashes of Love, a 2018 63 episode show, which is the story of a many lifetime romance between a flower deity who cannot love and a fire deity. So this is actually about two deities. They're not actual humans. They're
non-humans.
just actual non-humans.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And this was the first costume drama I ever watched. And so this show is super popular. It's actually getting a season 2. Not following the
how often
main
is
couple
that,
of
by
this.
the way, for
A
season
lot.
2s?
A lot of shows, especially the very popular ones, can have a season 2. They won't necessarily always follow like the same couple. For example, 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms has 2 spin-off shows which follow the 2 of the side couples, and they get their own full shows. And this show's getting a season 2, I think, following a different couple. And a bunch of shows get season 2s if they're very popular, or they're designed to have a season 2 if the story was not completed. The thing with Chinese shows is that many times maybe a main actor will be recast. For example, in
Awkward.
Evernight, there's a season 1 with one lead actor, and season 2 has a different main male lead.
Playing the
They're
same
the same character. Same character.
They just
different
ignore
actor.
the fact that, oh,
Mm-hmm. That can happen.
okay. Because,
Mhm.
you know, their drama life is busy. They gotta hop on from one show to the other. And if they're booked,
Oh yeah, no, they do a lot of dramas.
too
So
bad.
yeah, Ashes of
Recast.
Love is one of the most popular dramas, and I think I needed to highlight it here because I do genuinely think it's very, very good, and people should watch it. It is an intimidating 63 episodes, but you can watch it on
Oof.
YouTube, Netflix, and Viki.
Dang.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And so lastly, we come to the type of drama that I have seen the least about, so I actually have to do research on.
Oh, dear.
Republican Era.
Oh yes, these were the ones you just had to watch
yeah.
for this episode specifically.
I found a lot of good shows, but also, like, I had never... Republican Era shows had always been a show that I didn't know anything about, because, again, I was raised in the United States, Kayla was raised in the United States, Dan was partially raised in the United States. Even when you were in Europe, we don't necessarily have great Chinese historical education.
None.
So,
I got
if
none.
None either. So, Republican era Chinese dramas are set in the Republican era of China, which is between 1912 and 1949. And they fall from the last imperial dynasty to the Civil War and the Communist Revolution. So, it is that span of time when China was a republic, the end of the imperial rule to the beginning of communism. And so the shows often focus on youth, the military, police, some kind of police officer, some kind of spy, and also often focus on the Japanese invasion or in families trying to transition into the new modern age. So a lot of times these shows, one of my favorite things about these shows is that you see the costuming is one of my favorite things about these shows because it is a mix of traditional Chinese wear and Western clothing. So you'll see someone in traditional Chinese outfits sitting next to someone who's in a full suit. And the actual, like, what you would picture as someone in, like, the 1920s. And it's just super great, and I love that, like, whole dynamic is really, really nice. And so, I had no education on this period of Chinese history, or anything about Chinese history. So, I always found these shows a little intimidating to watch. It was a lot.
I can imagine.
So I did a bunch of research on Wikipedia and then realized that I don't have the time for this, and also that I'm just going backwards because I like started out in like Republican era China and then went back to realize, well, why did the imperial dynasties fall? And then went back and I'm like, I can't research all of Chinese
And
history.
then just like
for this episode.
researched the entirety of Republican era China.
I needed to stop because that was not going to do anything, and also it took too long.
And it's like
That was a good, like...
I was like, we are going to mention it maybe like 5 minutes on this podcast episode. Like, you don't need an entire essay on it.
At some point, I was just looking it up for my own thing, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I have an actual job. This is not I can't... At that point, I might as well just start going to college and majoring in Chinese history.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first show I have is My Roommate's a Detective, which I loved. This is one of my favorite shows of this year, too. It's a 2020 36-episode show. It's set in the mid-1920s where a trio of a police officer, a detective, and a reporter form a small detective squad that specializes in solving strange and unsettling murder mysteries.
Ooh.
It's like Sherlock meets Murder, She Wrote meets Scooby-Doo.
Oh my, that's a.
It's so fun.
What
Those
a
are
combination of shows.
I have no. That didn't simplify anything at all. I have no idea. But
I
yeah,
love this show so much. This show is so fun. It was so funny. I love the whole thing. The dynamic was great. The two male leads were really fun. I mean, the romance was kind of forced, but also like, I loved everything about the show. Also, I have a correction to make for this show. I actually found a correction because in the show there is these British characters because it does take place in China during the 1920s and there was a British sort of presence there, and they oftentimes refer to the British monarch as the Queen. That is not correct for the mid-1920s in Britain. The British monarch in the 1920s was King George V. It should not be the Queen.
Well,
They did zero research.
They
no
can't always
research
get it
into
right.
Western history.
I know, but I as someone who's also really into British, like, period pieces, especially when I was in high school, was just like, this is wrong.
This is just
That's
not
the one
correct
thing I
at
noticed.
all.
I'm like, that is just like one little thing that bugged me who noticed it. No one else cares. But yeah, that is this show. I loved this show. This show was super fun. The murder mysteries were great. It was very Sherlock Holmesy, where it's like you can't really figure out the mystery yourself. You can kind of figure out the mystery yourself, but like oftentimes it's like the missing piece of the puzzle comes into the last minute, much like Murder, She Wrote. I loved it. This is just really funny. Do you guys want to watch a murder mystery set in 1920s China?
You know, there was probably other detective crime dramas I would watch first, to be honest.
It sounds like a bit much. I think I'd be more interested in the time period more than the whole murder mystery aspect. Time period is cool. I always like historical stuff, especially if it's from a different, again, point of view that I'm not familiar with. So, yay, learning more. Plus, I like that time period in Western history as well. So, that'd be cool to see what's going on in the China at that time.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that show is available on Viki and IQ.com. Even though I think that one might be on just their VIP service, so maybe watch it on Viki.
Nice.
Next one is Hot Blooded Youth, a 2019 58 episode drama that stars Tao, formerly of EXO.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yay!
I feel like I know the most about this one because I heard you talk about it a lot.
No, there's two of them.
This was a different one?
There's two of them. This is not the Google translated one.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. This is the other Republican era Tao show that's 58 episodes long.
The other one.
Oh dear.
We'll get to the other one. So this one is a so Tao grew up on the streets. He's a quick-witted, talented, exceptionally gifted, basically con artist. And so by chance he's pulled into a fight and basically becomes a force for crime in the Shanghai underground. And sort of his dealings with that and with the police and with all that. Also, spoiler alert, this show turns into a prison show for about like 20 episodes.
Nice.
Oh.
Actually, it's really like 10.
Love a change
the
of
one
theme
that I-
in the
Change
middle
of
of the
pace.
drama.
Yeah. So like he's this like quick-witted like super con artist from the streets who like takes care of his like family and his community by like scamming the rich.
Mm.
And then also somehow gets thrown in jail for a while. You know, it becomes like Prison Break for a little bit because they also have to get him out of jail. But this show was really fun.
I feel like I
It was
remember
very
you talking
dramatic.
about that because you're like, you're still in the prison.
We're still in jail. The jail went on for a while. I was surprised how long it was a prison drama. The villains were really good in this show, actually. It actually has some of the best villains. It's really fun, really dramatic. I also like Tao more as an actor than I did as a member of EXO or as a
the
soloist.
K-pop idol.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like Tao more as an actor than as a K-pop idol. Yep.
It's funny
I
how that
enjoyed the
works
show a lot.
out. There's a few idols that I've grown to like a lot more just because of dramas. Mainly 2 p.m. Thanks, guys.
Yep. So, this show is available on Viki and IQ.com. So the third drama, so these two dramas are both dramas that I have things to say about, but both come with asterisks. Arsenal Military
Okay.
asterisk. Arsenal Military Academy is a 2019 48 episode drama where a girl joins the army in her brother's stead by pretending to be a man. She becomes a classmate
Mulan.
with a wealthy. She becomes classmates with like a wealthy, like spoiled rich boy and like the calm, quiet one, two male leads, and through their rigorous training, the three form a bond and become comrades. But can she keep her cover? So I haven't actually.
No.
I watched the first 4 episodes of this show and then didn't finish it because I cannot stand the trope of girl pretends to be boy. And this military show was not going to change that because she does not make a convincing boy. But someone I know who has seen it highly recommends it, and I trust their opinion. So if this is not a trope that bothers you, here's another one for you. Because people that like that trope really like that trope. So here's one for you. Because I
don't
can't
mind
stand
that
it.
trope.
I also
hate it.
don't enjoy that trope.
It just
It's maybe my
depends
least
on
favorite
how
trope.
long. I mean, it's what my. I think my least. The problem with it for me mostly is because they like. Someone finds out, but then they like cover it up and like, no, you didn't see it right, and then it goes on, you know, and then.
here's the
It's all
thing.
about learning the secret, and that's what
Mhm.
becomes the central focus of the entire show, and less about what anything else is happening. So yeah, who can
Mhm.
keep a secret, and how well can you keep a secret? It can get pretty annoying. I understand that.
Yeah, I can't stand
Better
the trope,
for a
but someone
movie,
that I know
not
that
so
has
great
watched
for
it,
a 50-something episode.
48.
All right, 48 episodes.
48 long
show.
episodes of that.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Yep.
Because I
It's
guarantee
a
you by
lot.
like 30 episodes in, it's still no one knows, and then one person finds out, and then by the last 10 episodes, everyone finding out, and then it's dealing with the consequences, and then realizing, oh, but you're a good asset, so we'll deal with it, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay.
I think my big problems with this trope is like any story they're gonna try to tell out of that is usually just not good. Like there's really only
Yeah.
one story you can tell with that trope, and it's not good in the first place. And also, like, how many times have we done this already? Like, we don't need to keep doing this.
No.
Mm.
Yeah, but again, if you like that trope, this is another show for you. And people that people that I know that have seen this show and don't mind that trope have said it's very good for that trope. So that's that show. And then the last show I have to talk about is Forward Forever, the 2020 58 episode Republican era drama starring Tao. This is the one you're thinking of, Kayla.
The Google translated one.
Oh,
Yep.
snap.
So this story is set during a period of great unrest at the end of the Qing dynasty and the beginning of the Republic of China, and follows 2 impassioned youth as they devote their lives to their country. This is the Google translated show. I don't recommend this show. I do and I don't. This show is an emotional roller coaster. Like, the cast is great. The main leads are great. It pulls at your heartstrings in every possible way. Spoiler alert, Caleb, flash the spoiler button.
Yep, spoilers. right
Everybody
now.
dies.
Everybody
Everybody
dies.
dies.
Everyone's
dear.
dead.
This is the show where everyone dies. But also I emotionally was very invested. But spoiler's over. But the unfortunate thing is, the whole show is Google translated. You get the gist of what everyone is saying.
But it's just
But
like you barely
I-
can. Like
I will not
Like,
enjoy
you
it.
barely
then.
understand it.
I don't
I already
recommend
have
that
a-
you watch this drama, Dan.
I will hate myself. I had trouble with Gank Your Heart, and it had relatively
like
decent.
actually translated subtitles.
And it wasn't
Let
even
me-
that great. It annoyed me. So
And you want to read a Google translated subtitles?
No, thank you. I'm good.
For a 58 episode C drama.
I don't like. I already have trouble reading. I just don't want to have to like decipher it in my own head after I read something. You know. I cannot believe you watched a 58 drama with just Google translated subs. I mean, that's dedication.
I did. This
She
is the
watched
dedication
it
I have
for
to this
this episode.
podcast.
Which
She
is
watched it for this
insane to
episode
me.
specifically.
Google it's at the beginning of every episode. Google Translate version for your reference.
Ah. So no.
Mm-hmm. So no, it's still Google translated.
Well, they tried.
So I don't necessarily recommend that you watch this show. However, did I enjoy myself? Did I feel emotionally invested in a show that I could barely understand? Yes, and is that the mark of maybe a great show? Probably. I barely understood what was happening, but I had a very weird time. I was very frustrated.
I'm frustrated just thinking about it, so
I watched the full 58 episodes.
nah. I'll get through half an episode before I just give it quits and be like, I'm done. I can't do this.
It's just like, I am done. I want nothing
No.
to do with this.
I don't care how good Tao is. Sorry.
Well, you can thankfully watch another Tao drama that is not Google translated.
Yes, in
Yeah,
the
there's
same
another
era.
With the same number of episodes.
Fascinating.
Only Tao made 2 of these shows within the same year.
Hey, he's a victim of success.
He's a victim of success. He's a great actor. He's a better actor than he was in Idol, and he was a pretty okay Idol.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Good
not
for
insulting
him.
Tao's music. Tao's music's fine.
He's just
a
he's
better
like a very
actor.
good actor.
He's just a better
It's a
actor.
compliment.
So
Good
yeah,
for
these
him.
were some of these were some of recommendations I have for dramas. Are either of you going to check any of them out?
I think the big
Probably.
one is the Go-Go Squid. I still think I have to eventually watch. I don't know. I might give one of these Republican era ones a chance. I mean, you put in so much effort to watch them. Least I could do is give it a chance. We'll see. I mean, I've watched 8 dramas, and I know that
My
there's
thing
more
with
than 8
Republican
dramas.
era-
I don't even have a top 10 yet, guys. Okay,
You haven't
so
even watched 10 dramas yet.
Nope.
I have plenty of good to go through before I start delving into the let's give this a shot. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe later on. I know Go-Go Skid is for sure one that I think I will enjoy, but other than that, I don't know yet. We'll see.
I
Kayla?
might check out Because of You, because that one sounds pretty interesting. And also because it's just like par for the course for me having to watch The Untamed at some point. Like, that's just gonna happen at some point.
At some point. And I've seen all of these shows, and my thing with the Republican era shows was that it was never that I had to put an extra effort. It's that I never had like ripped off the Band-Aid and actually watched one, because I always found them somewhat intimidating. That I was just like, you know what, I'll do it. And now I actually really enjoy them. So this was a learning experience for me too. Maybe I'll watch a historical drama eventually.
At some point.
At some point.
Alright, everybody. So this was our episode on C-Dramas recommendations. We have a Twitter link in the description. We also have a K-pop collection Instagram. We also are on Spotify. And if you're watching on Spotify, we have a YouTube where we post fun bonus videos.
Yay.
And so we'll be
Yay.
back with another episode about something.
Something, I don't know what, but the next episode
About,
is gonna
I don't
be...
know what.
We plan these in advance. Yes.
Well,
Yeah, we
the thing
planned
is
these so
we
far
have
in
like
advance.
5 episodes planned in advance, but I have no idea what order they're gonna come out in.
Nope. So,
Like the one time we have pre-planned episodes, and it's like I can't tell you what the next one's gonna be.
Indeed.
nope. But we'll be back next week with something.
Mhm.
Alright?
We
Bye.
will. Bye.
Bye.